Gladys rented out 23 Newport Road to Ria's Calves.
Do you know what number this one is?
A confectioner, he owns sweeties.
And now we're on Sussex Street.
It is L. Thompson.
It's a charity shop.
So, I'm in the marketplace at the Old Town Hall in Middlesbrough, over the border.
So in this episode, as we go down South Street, we are going to look at number 5, which was just next door really to our previous episode, and Tom's going to read out the 1891 census for this business.
The 1891 census for 5 South Street. William Curson, head 48, a confectioner, he owns sweeties.
Adam! Where are we going?
To the Wolver Street shop in England.
What are you going to get? Hello. I got these ones. Double me.
Glucose syrup, all boiled under 140 degrees Celsius.
Then you've got Martha Curson, the wife, 47, of course. No job. Harry Curson, the son, 19. He's a confectioner's assistant.
Working with Dad.
Then you've got Mary Ann Curson, the daughter, 18. And believe it or not, she's a confectionery assistant too. Then you've got John William Curson, the son, he's 15. He's a confectionery assistant too. Is that after school or?
Probably after school.
So, Ethel Curson, the daughter, 12. She's a scholar. Rosa Curson, the daughter, she's 10. She's a scholar. Annie Curson, the daughter, 8. She's a scholar.
Scholar.
So what happened to William Curson's sweet shop? Because I've never heard of it, and I'm in my 30s, so it's not around anymore. So what happens next is the family moved to Corporation Road from South Street, and here's a 1950s map of Corporation Road, and we're looking for number 77, which is just next to the big building in the middle, on the same stretch as the Odeon Cinema. And the only picture I can find from the 1950s, 60s is this picture with the cinema on the right, and if we look here, this would have been number 77. And looking in the paper, I have found a picture of the sweet shop in this period on Corporation Road. And this must be Harry and his wife outside of it due to the age of the man. And they're clearly advertising Fry's chocolate.
I'm just coming onto Corporation Road now, where the Odeon used to be. So this is where the Odeon used to be. So that's where William and Martha had the second shop, 77 Corporation Road.
So starting with the male Curson children to see if it's been passed down. Harry married in 1895 to Elspeth Thompson. So in 1895, Harry had left 5 South Street on the day of his wedding to get married at St Mary's Catholic Cathedral on Sussex Street. And on the 7th of September 1898, so a few years later, John William Curson, 23, married Lily. He also left 5 South Street on the day of his wedding and got married at St Hilda's. This is the 1913 Kelly's trade directory for the Cursons, and we can see that Harry is a confectioner at 25 Sussex Street.
And now we're on Sussex Street. So this is the modern day Sussex Street where Harry Curson would have had his shop. Not far from where he grew up on South Street. So it would have been roughly round about here. The cathedral was down here somewhere near the police station, and the shop was about here on the right hand side.
Harry is known as the man on the bag, or Candy Curson, because he printed his image on the sweet bag. You can see that Harry is a confectioner at 25 Sussex Street and 297 Linthorpe Road.
It's gotta be here somewhere. Right, so 297 Linthorpe Road was along this block somewhere. That's 289. It's gotta be up here. Gotta be one of these. Do you know what number this is? 305. So we went too far. Do you know what number this one is?
After walking right past it, I finally found the shop. On on Linthorpe Road that Harry Curson would have walked in and sold his sweets. He would have stood right at this front door, being proud he was on Linthorpe Road in central Middlesbrough. John William Curson's a confectioner at 179 Linthorpe Road. 179 is so much easier to find because it's now demolished, and the Upton's department store, which was well known, was built on the site, and the building that housed Upton's is still there today. And a shopkeeper at 25 Princes Road, so they've got really central locations.
This is 25 Princes Road.
And their dad, obviously William Curson, has got the original shop at 77 Corporation Road. Right, let's get down to investigating what happened to this business. Starting with John, he had a daughter, Hilda, who was born in 1899. However, she died when she was 10 years old, which is such a shame for John because that was his only child. She's buried in Linthorpe Cemetery. John's in the paper for getting really drunk because his friends were going into the army. A whole crowd actually lifted John on their shoulders in Newport Crescent. He was charged with drunk and disorderly, but it looks like he had a good time. John, however, died just shortly before the First World War ended, so that means that none of John's descendants ever carried on the family business.
This is where William and Martha passed away in 1919.
Martha died first on the 21st of October 1919, and she left Harry 365 quid, 1 shilling and 4 pence. And then William died in December of 1919, so shortly after, and he left over £4,878 to a clerk. I have no idea why William didn't give it to Harry to carry on the business. So both mum and dad have died, and by 1926 Harry himself has passed away, so he left it within his family. So Harry's son Harry got married on the 16th of October 1935 to Lottie, and Harry's listed as an electrician. So I'm taking it from this that none of Harry's descendants carried on the business after Harry had died so early. So now we have to go into the girls. Annie married Alfred Whitfield in 1905, and she got married at St Mary's Cathedral as well, and they opened a shop at 23 Newport Road.
So number 23 Newport Road was along here somewhere.
I've been on that.
I think it's that one.
It's a charity shop.
I know.
Where that first food shop.
Annie and her husband Alfred Whitfield are listed in the electoral registers for 23 Newport Road, and I went to the Central Library in Middlesbrough to confirm with the Trade Directory to see if she was still running the business there, and it does say A. Whitfield Confectioner at 23. So right through the 1930s and the 1940s, Annie was continuing the sweet shop. Mary and Rosa continued to run Mum and Dad's shop at 77 Corporation Road, so they were well known right through the 1920s.
And eventually, before the Second World War, they've packed in 77 Corporation Road and they've retired to Saltburn.
Annie Whitfield died in 1948 at the age of 78 years old, and then Rosa died in 1949. So Mary Ann Curson, who never married and never had any children, seems to come back to 23 Newport Road to either help Annie and Alfred, who were getting on a bit, and try and run the business. Annie's daughter Gladys also was around at this time, helping her auntie Mary. However, Mary died in 1950, aged 77 years, marking the end of the siblings running sweet shops. So it fell on Gladys to kind of keep the family business going, and she's in the trade directories for 23 Newport Road. Gladys must have ran Curson's cigarettes and chocolates throughout the 1950s, because this is 1959, but her son Brian comments on Memories of Middlesbrough saying that Ria's rented the shop, formerly 23, from my mother Gladys Dodds, who inherited it from her mother Annie Whitfield. There's one side point to make about the Sussex Street shop, and if we look at the trade directories from Middlesbrough Library, we can see that Sussex Street is in them. And if you look at number 25, it says L. Thompson, Confectioner. So I wondered where I'd heard that name from, and it was Harry's wife's maiden name. So L. Thompson is Harry's sister-in-law, Lily. That's why it didn't pass down Harry's line of the family. She continued to run the Sussex Street shop. She was trained as a 17-year-old as an assistant, and when his wife died, she carried on her sister's business basically, and she's listed as a confectionery dealer and everything. Lily died in 1967 and Gladys died in Leeds in 1981, and as Brian said, Gladys rented out 23 Newport Road to Ria's Calf, so technically at this point that ended the family business, and that's why it's not around anymore. All of the Cursons, Annie, Rosa, Mary, William and Martha, are all buried in Linthorpe Cemetery together.